Hello, fifth graders. My name is Miss Buri, and I'm going to be your math teacher for this year. The purpose of today's video is really going to be to introduce you to some of my procedures and expectations as it goes with distance learning. If we were to be back in person, we'd have to start in fresh and really learn all new procedures and expectations. So this will be for distance learning. So I'll give you some information that'll be useful for you to know along the way. So one thing I want to start with that I think is going to be different than fourth grade is that in fourth grade, you had a lot of what's called synchronous instruction, which means that you all are gathering on a Zoom call and your teacher is teaching you live and you're learning live. And so in fifth grade, we do actually a lot more of what's called asynchronous instruction, which means it's not all happening together at the same time. So what you're going to see is that I'll be posting videos instructing about material, and you can watch that video and do the lesson whenever it works for you. So it could be early in the morning, it could be late at night, it could be when your parents are available to help you. And so you'll be able to kind of set your schedule for the day and do your work when fits for you. I'll be posting that work every day by 6 a.m., every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it'll be due by 11:59 p.m. at night. As with last year, though, you're not being penalized for late work. You have up to 2 weeks to complete work for full credit. But I will still be following up, even if I won't usually, well, I'm not going to wait 2 weeks for that. I'll usually be in touch with you sooner than that to talk about any work that's missing or late and make sure that you understand what it is that's expected of you. So one of the things I want to talk about with the math class is really the difference between doing the work to really learn the material versus doing the work to get your homework turned in. And so as a student, I challenge you to really push yourself to do the work to learn the material. If all you're focused on is what's my homework, get it done, turn it in, you're not going to learn nearly as much as if you take the opportunity to do all of the steps that I'm showing you to do in your homework assignment. And I'll be showing you a typical homework assignment in a moment here. And really just to walk you through how I'm hoping you're going to utilize this asynchronous instruction. So thinking about your virtues on so many levels, these virtues are really pushing you towards this learning, working through the material in order to learn. So thinking about using your prudence and your wisdom. What is the prudent choice? What is the wise choice? And of course, it's to learn things well, not just to check something off of your checklist, okay? And using that fortitude to go through, even if it seems like it takes more time, it probably does, but use that fortitude so that you're learning that material well. So what does that mean? I'll show you. This is from my math class last year, but it's a good example of what a typical assignment is going to look like in my class. So when you log on to math for a day, you're going to see something a lot like this. Okay, hello, fifth graders, for today. One, I have a video, and I'm asking you to watch a YouTube video, and you can see you can click on the link right there while working along with me. And that last part is important. It's not enough just to watch it. You're not going to necessarily learn just by watching. My expectation is that you'll have paper and pencil, or you'll have a whiteboard, or you'll have a notebook, and that as I'm solving problems on the video, you should be solving those problems with me. If I'm telling you to take notes, I want you to be taking those notes with me. And then remember, when these videos are playing, if I give an instruction, you can always pause the video and get what you need. So, for instance, I'll often say, okay, you solve this problem, pause, solve the problem, and then come back and see how you did. So if we're talking about doing the material to learn versus to just get it done, that first step is really important in the learning process where you're working along with me. Imagine if we were in class together, that's what we'd be doing. You wouldn't be standing and watching me solve problems up on the whiteboard. You'd be solving the problems and then having the work checked, okay? So step one is to watch the video and of course, re-watch it if that would be helpful, and make sure you're working along with me and following the instructions that are included in there. Step two is going to be practice work. This is going to be work that you will do, but will not be turning in for homework, okay? So in this case, I said complete pages 49 through 50 in your 5B workbook. So again, you're not doing this today. This is a sample assignment. And then I tell you to check your answers with the posted keys. So again, we're thinking about completing the work to learn, not to just get it all done and to get it done as quickly as possible. So when you're doing the practice work, your goal again is to complete that assignment. Okay, do it carefully. Apply what you've learned from the video and see how you did. And then when you check your answers after you've done that work carefully and really worked through it, you can open up the keys that are posted here, and those keys will give you the answers for the practice work. Now remember, the goal is not just to be getting it right. So copying the key is not going to help you learn at all, okay? Or if you open up the key and see that you got a problem wrong, just changing the answer to the right answer is not going to help you learn. So if you find that you're opening up and seeing, ugh, I got 4C wrong, you should redo the problem on your own. See if you can figure out where the mistake happened. See if you can figure out the correct way to solve that problem, okay? Then you can check your answer again. And so the goal is that you are doing the corrections yourself, and then you are finding out how to make that answer correct. The key is there to help you in that process, but it's not there to just give you the answers that you would erase and then change. That's not going to help you learn. So again, I just keep repeating, it's the difference between doing the work to learn versus just to get it done. Okay, and then step 3 in your homework assignments or in your assignments in Google Classroom will be the homework. So I tell you there, complete page 51 in your workbook. And then I'm going to ask you to upload a picture when you are done. You should have practiced uploading a picture already in your homeroom class, but this is going to be a regular part of your math homework, is uploading a picture of your work. So at that point, there will not be a key available for you. And then myself or Mr. Tom Have is going to go in and look at your work. We're going to give you feedback on it about how you did on your homework. Okay, and then I tell you, let me know if you have any questions. This bottom part here is also for today, that it tells you that you may make your own notes with me in the video, meaning like as I'm giving you notes, you can get out a piece of loose leaf and copy along the notes that are in there. Or it says that you could print the notes that are attached below, and that's often going to be the case. If you picked up your materials, you should have seen that I sent home a math resource binder. And so a lot of the notes that you're going to need for the first quarter, I've already printed and put in that math resource binder. So you can be following along as we're going through lessons in that math resource binder. And so as you're thinking about your math resource binder, it's going to look something like this, right? You're going to have a math resource binder, and it may have your name or it may have a slot for you to write your name. And that's where you're going to keep your math notes as we go throughout the year. These are going to be useful to you so that as you're continuing to work, you can look back at the notes that you took earlier, especially as we're doing some review work. So I talked to you about grading and how Mr. Tom Have or I will be grading work. And so I want you guys to be in the habit of when you get that work returned to you, if the work has been done and it's been done well, and it doesn't necessarily have to be 100%, but pretty good quality work, then Mr. Tom Have or I will assign you 4 out of 4 points for that homework. We'll give you feedback. So let's say you got, 8 problems and you got 6 of them right. We'll probably say, great job, you got most of them right. There were a couple issues with A and C, so go back and give those a look. But we'll assign you 4 out of 4 points for that if you did a pretty strong job. If you turned in a homework assignment and it's clear that maybe you didn't quite understand the concept, what's going to happen is we'll return it to you, and we're going to return it ungraded. And so what that means is you maybe got up and you did your math homework and you turned it in, and then you look at Google Classroom and it looks like you never turned it in. And so the first thing that you want to be doing in those circumstances is to go and look. Did my teacher write me comments? Get in the habit of checking for those comments every day, because typically there's going to be a note from myself or a note from Mr. Tom Have that tells you, ooh, you had a tough time with this. I'd like you to go back and make corrections, take another picture, and then resubmit it. And so this gives you an opportunity to try and maybe rewatch the video, figure out what mistake you were making. Often we'll give you really clear directions. We'll say something like, ooh, you kept forgetting to carry the number correctly, or something that's concrete instructions. And so then before you resubmit that work, you want to make those corrections. And then after you feel like you've corrected that work, you're going to resubmit it for us to take a look at. So again, I want to reiterate, Don't just return it back in. You want to go read the comments, make the corrections, and then turn it back in. And so I said this earlier, and I want you to be thinking about as you're taking on your math lesson for the day. There are the students who skip the first few steps. They just say, I'm going to watch the video. I'm not going to do the practice work. I'm going to jump to the homework, turn it in, done. It's off my list. Okay. Those students are not going to learn as much as the students who are watching the video, who are working right alongside the video with me. They have their sheet of paper, they have their whiteboard, and they're doing the work as I'm doing it, following along in their textbook. Okay. And then do the practice work carefully. And then when they look at their practice key and they realize they made mistakes, they're going to try and fix those mistakes. And then they go and do the homework and work carefully on that. Those students are going to learn so much more. So I'm challenging you all to be those students. Be those students who learn so much more because you're taking the time to do the work and do it carefully. Now, what if you are doing all those steps and it isn't making sense to you? That's totally normal, totally fine, right? You might follow all the steps that I've given to you and you might still be having a tough time with the material. So there's going to be 3 certain things that are available to you regularly. First, I have office hours every day from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That doesn't mean I'm not available at other times, but it means I'm definitely going to be available at those times. So I've posted in your classroom my instructions for office hours. So when you go and look at the classroom tab, or classwork tab, I should say, the first category you're going to see is this things you need to know category. Okay. And so you'll notice I give these instructions for my office hours. When are they? 10 a.m. to 12 on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay. How? You start by communicating with me by commenting on your language arts assignment, or for you guys, since you're in my math class, commenting on your math assignment. Ask a question. I might be able to type a response, and that might be enough. Or it might be confusing, and then I'll say, oh, here, I'll send you, let's meet in my Zoom room and we can chat. Okay, another option is that you could call me or text me on that Google Voice number that's posted there. So that's going to be available in your classroom every day. Okay, so one option is to meet or to seek out help from me during my office hours. In addition, Mr. Tom Have, I've mentioned, he supports me in the math classroom. If you have been at Nova before, then you're super familiar with Mr. Tom Have, right? He's been in your math class. His office hours are going to be from 1:30 to 2 p.m. every day, okay? So you can get in touch with him, and I will have his office hours posted on our classroom as well. So you can go to his office hours in the afternoon. That's another option if you're feeling confused about your math. Okay. In addition, we are going to have a class Zoom meeting every other week. Okay, so I'll show you again this classroom. You'll see optional. This is an optional meeting, but it's a great opportunity to come and socialize as well as practice some of our content. So Ms. Buri's math students are invited to meet each odd week. So week 3, week 5, week 7 on Fridays at 2 p.m. We will visit with one another and we'll also discuss our math content. This meeting is optional, but encouraged. Okay, so you can always come and join there. So that's another opportunity to come and ask questions and get extra practice. Okay, so that's 3 things. And then in addition, I think you know that Wednesdays are set aside for getting caught up and checking in with your teachers. And so if you think it would be beneficial to have a meeting with me on a Wednesday, you can reach out. And I also may reach out to you and say, this is something that I think we should practice on Wednesday. And so I'll set up maybe a small group meeting with you or maybe a one-on-one meeting with you to come together and try and work on some of these concepts. So if you're feeling stuck, there's a whole lot of opportunities for you to be able to take advantage of the help that's available to you. Okay. One last thing that I'm going to say is that your math facts are always, always so important. They're so useful. So I'm going to be posting a couple of printable decks of flashcards. So if you had a printer and were able to print those flashcards, that would be a great way to practice your math facts, to get yourself really ready to do your work. The more that you're solid in your math facts, the easier it is to try and learn the new math concepts. There are also websites online for practicing math facts. That's another option. But really, any time that you're thinking, I have some time and I could work on something else, I'm always going to encourage you to work on those math facts there's really never a reason not to, right? And Wednesdays are another great day for working on those math facts. So, fifth graders, that was a lot of information. If you have questions about anything that I just said, feel free to write a response in to the private comments for today's homework assignment, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. I'm looking forward to getting to know you all in the coming days and weeks, and connecting a little bit more. For your homework, it's going to be a bit of some review work, some things that you would have learned last year. So I want to see where we're at, how much we remember from from the spring. So go ahead, you're going to complete the attached homework, and I'll look forward to your responses. Good luck.